Welcome to Follow the Figures. This is Dave. It's 6/18/2019. It's 1:35 p.m. And the race we're going to look at here is Finger Lakes Race 3 today. It's a mile 16th race. Non-winners of 5,000 claimer. Non-winners of 2 in the last 6 months. Now, on this race here, on this video, I've completed my initial sweep already. Okay, my initial sweep is done. The things I look for for a route race or any race in particular, I've identified on here. As you can see, the one horse, there's nothing really identified where I would look at as a positive or a negative. So I'm not gonna toss this horse, but at the same time, there's no qualitative information that I get from this this horse here to throw onto the grid. Same thing right here. Okay, so I'm going to rely solely on my speed figures once I record them onto the grid, and also my final fractions. Being that it's a route race, I don't use the early fraction. I'll look at just simply the late fraction. Now I moved down to 3. I identified a couple things on this 3. Well, actually, really only one thing that I'm going to focus on. But if I look over here, I look for horses in italics in the last 2 races. That means they came out and they won their last race. They came out the next time and they ran and they won their next race. If I see 2 or more in the same race in the last 2 races, I consider that a key race. It was against a higher level competition. If these horses were able to come out and win their next race after that, I identify that on my grid, and I kind of give this a little bit of props to this horse, or not so much props, but I give a little bit of credence to that when looking into the figures and the information for. But the one thing I did identify is this horse is coming out of a sprint race, 6 furlongs, and going to a route. And one of the things I look for is I look for close to the pace for most of the race at 6 furlongs or at the 1 turn distance. And obviously he loses the race by 6.5 furlongs. And some people will look at that and say, well, God, he couldn't hold it off for 6 furlongs. He lost it and ended up losing by 6.5 lengths. What's he expected to do at a route race, 2 turns? Well, the horses are going to use their energy differently in a 1 turn race at a sprint distance than they are at the route distance. So just the fact that he stayed close to the lead here, and then when he hit the top of the stretch, he was still at half lengths out. Then he ended up, fade. He stayed in 3rd, but the other 2 horses in front just kind of pulled away. And then he ended up losing the race by 6.5. So being that it's a route race, the energy is going to be expended a little bit differently. So I mark that down, and I usually keep that on the grid. I identify that on the grid as a 7 horses scratched in this race. That's out. And these are out. I identify that as a change or sprint to route or route to sprint. I use the gray color to just as a reminder. Once I evaluate my grid, I won't have to go back to the past performances anymore and keep flipping back and forth. I can look and say, okay, that 3 horse, that was the horse that was in that 6 furlong race, close to the pace, and may expend his energy a little bit differently today in the route distance. I moved down to the 4. Nothing really to identify. The 5, I started trying to identify a key race, but I couldn't find any. Like, here's an example right here of a key race. If I look down here, if you notice, in fact, Benny's Big Boy won this race. We also have Port-au-Prince that came out and won its next race too. So this was a key race. Benny's Big Boy actually came out and won again next time out. Okay? And then we see here in June 23rd, he was also in a race where 2 horses came back, him being one of them, and won the next time out. Okay, so that's what I look for. Being that we have a little time, let's see if we can identify a few more here in these past races. Again, I'm looking for at least 2 of these 3 finishers to be in Italics. Okay, here's one right here. Big Shot in the News. He ended up coming back. He didn't win his next one out, but he improved the next two. Then we look here, we see Baldinel and Toasty Boy. They both came back, and Baldinel won his next race along with Toasty Boy. Now here's a prime example of Seeking Payment. Seeking Payment finished fourth in this race. The three horses that finished ahead of him all came out and won their next race. Okay, notice again, they're all in italics. That means the next time they ran, they won their race. And this horse came in second and lost by a neck. All right, so he almost won the race there. But if you see what I'm getting at, that's what I look for those key races there. Because they usually respond and they run a little bit better because of, even though the class of the race might be the same, 5,000 non-winners of 3 lifetime, 5,000 non-winners of 3 lifetime, sometimes a mixture of horses in there are going to be a little bit different. A little better competition here than maybe there. And he comes out and runs a better race. Okay, so that was my initial sweep of that race. I wasn't able to eliminate any, but I was able to pick up a couple positives from a few of these horses. If I look down here, again, I have a class dropper, the 8 horse identified as a class dropper. On my grid, class drops are identified in purple. So again, when I'm evaluating my grid, I don't have to worry about going back and now and saying, okay, well, any of these horses drop class. I just look over here and I see he's purple. He's identified as a class dropper. So I'm going to pause and I'm going to finish this grid here. And then we'll come back and we'll analyze the grid and we'll see what kind of plays we can come up with. Okay, welcome back. We have our Finger Lakes third grid done here. And once again, before we even get into the numbers, we had two things identified on here. We had the 3 horse identified as a sprint to route horse who was close to the pace until on the stretch he started to fade away a little bit. Going to a route race today, probably looking to expend his energy a little bit differently and possibly have something left in the end. We also had the 8. The 8 was identified as a class dropper. Now the one thing I want to also make a note of is the 6 horse with the best halftime of 48-1 is most likely projected as our speed horse. All right, so I identified it as green. So I'm projecting that the 6 will be out in front. Okay, before even looking at any of these numbers here. Okay, now to analyze the grid here, what I'll do is I will find my top point getter. Now the top points here, being to have a little bit of time I'll spend on it, is an accumulation of points based on all of these bolded columns here. Okay, it's simply the total. Could be similar to a power rating where a lot of systems have, power ratings, and all they're usually just an accumulation of different factors that come in and are averaged out, or there's some sort of formula used to come out with a figure. Well, this is our power rating here. So if you want to call it a power rating, we'll do that for this video. Top power rating goes to the 6 horse at 558.67. What I'll do is I'll go to all my bolded columns and I'll identify the top points. Okay, so the late speed, the 2 horse and the 5 horse have the top late speeds of 82. Then we have our last 3 speed figures averaged out. Once again, we're giving it to the 6. And here we go to the last out adjusted. And that's a 76. And then we have variant 2. Variant 2 is just the total of these two here. Best at the distance and last out figure. And we have a 159 on the 2. And variant 1 is the total of the best on a year and best on today's surface. And that would be a 174, and that's a tie between the 8 and the 3 horse. Okay, so we have all our top point getters in each of our categories that we focus on. Now, what I'll do is I'm going to find the also what I call also eligibles in each category. That way we can actually spread it out a little bit. Sometimes you'll get a horse that'll show up in almost every column. Sometimes as an also eligible, but he doesn't have a spot of blue in him at all, and that might be your value horse. He might end up going off and winning the race. So what I do is I like to identify the top 4 altogether, power ratings or point getters, total point getters, and I'll do the other 3 in yellow. So we have a 546, a 552, and a 553. So there's our top 4 power horses. Okay, for the late speed, I will take anything within 2 points of the top. So we have 82. I will take anybody with an 80 or higher, 80 or an 81, which would be the 81s. The last 3 out, averages, anything within 5. So the 72.6 and the 71 and the 72.5. They all qualify. That's also eligibles. Here also within 5. So the 75.5, 72, and the 71 qualify. And then for the variable, for the variance, variables, variable 1, variable 2, I'll take within 10. And actually, I went and jumped the gun here. I went and identified this horse, and really the 163s are the top here. So I don't know if any of you guys caught that earlier, but I just fixed it now. So I'll take anything down to a 153. Same thing here. We have 174s. I'll take anything down to a 164. Okay, so what we just did was we painted a picture. Okay, we painted a little picture of the race, and now we're going to analyze the grid. So if I look at this right now, I see the 6, the 5, the 4, the 3, and the 2 all standing out. Now you look at this, you say, well, yeah, that's great. You got 5 horses out of the 7 that are running standing out. Now, I don't like that any more than you do either. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back, and I'm going to see if I can eliminate a couple by taking these and going within the variable 1 and 2, anything that falls in within 5 of the leader. So right now I'm only going to take 169 or better. And I don't have a 169 or better. So what I'll do is I'll just take the 168. All right, so we'll go 168 there. Same thing over here, variable 2. I'll take anything 158 or higher. So that would get rid of the 156. All right, here I was looking for originally within 5. I'll go within 3. All right, so if I go within 3, it'll take out the 72. It'll take out the 71. Same thing here. I have 4 horses. If I were to go within 3, the 8 would lose his yellow coating. And now what we did was we just kind of narrowed the picture down a little bit here. We have the 6 horse, probably going to be on the lead, showing up in every bold category, on top of 3 of the bold categories, including the power rating. We have the 5 horse showing up in blue with the last race speed rating of 8, or late rating of 82, along with the 2. We have the 4 horse showing up once in blue, 3 times as an also eligible. We have the 3 horse, who's our sprint to route mover that we identified earlier. Now he's blue. He's an also eligible in points. And then we have the 2. Okay, the 2 horse is also a blue in the late speed rating, last out, but not showing up much else anywhere else. So what I'm going to do is, if I use the 2 would be in deeper exotics. I would include him maybe in the 3rd leg of a try. Include him in an exacta if the value is there. If there's no value on the 2 whatsoever, let's say he's going off as the favorite or the second choice, I'm going to take that opportunity now to try to beat him. All right, simply because my picture that I painted here tells me so. All right, so right now, before I even look at any odds, my 4 choices in this race, in order of preference, being it's a route race, and the 6 is going to be in the lead, most likely, I'm not going to put the 6 on top. All right, I'm not going to use the 6. I'm going to look for him to get run down, especially with the fact that the 6 right now is 9-5 morning line favorite. Okay, so I'm going to look for somebody to beat him, and I'm going to go right to the 5. Okay, I'm going to go to the 5 to beat him, simply because of the 82 here in the late speed column. All right, so I'm going to go 5. Then I'll put the 6. Then I'll use the 4. Or actually, I'll use the 3 over the 4. 3, 4. And base my wagers around those right there. Okay? In fact, let me just put a few wagers down here on top. We'll go with the 5 to win. So let's go $10 win. 5. We'll go with an exacta for $1. We'll go 3-5 over 3, 4, 5, 6. And notice we're leaving this class dropper out, the 8 horse. I mean, he's at 9-2 right now. He's being bet a little bit. And then we'll also go with we'll go with try. We'll go 50-cent try. We'll go 50-cent try. Just in case the 6 holds on, we'll go 5-6 on top with 3, 4, 5, 6. And we'll go all for third. All right, that'll be our 3 plays in this race. 10 to win 5. Dollar exacta 3-5 over 3, 4, 5, 6. And being that we were talking about the 2, and the 2 was showing up with that 82, he might add value to that exacta, him coming in second if he comes and runs a good race. I'm going to 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause, and the race is going to go off in about 4 minutes. I'll be back, and we'll watch him run.
That's for Big Shot in the News.
Okay,
and
they're
Rudy
off right now.
Ignacio. They lead by a length to Dan the Man. Ultimate Enticement with his 3-wide journey. Patriot Star 3 off the lead at the 5-8.
6 is actually
Benny Big Boy a little more than 4 from the front. Length and a half to Seeking Payment, flanked by Baldinel. 48 2/5 for Big Shot in the News. Dan the Man stays close. He's in a menacing position. Patriot Star's third. Benny Big Boy's getting a little closer. 4th, 3 off the lead. Ultimate Enticement going in the wrong direction. Then Seeking Payment, and Baldinel has trailed throughout. And Big Shot in the News is led throughout. Big Shot in the News by 2.
Now there's
and
that
Dan
3,
the Man's
using
being
his energy a
scrubbed
little
on.
bit differently.
Big Shot in the News has the lead at the quarter pole. Dan the Man
said,
comes under pressure.
sprint race, he took the lead.
In third race is Benny Big Boy. And
he might
farther
not be
back is
caught.
Patriot Star. Big Shot in the News, the 11-year-old looking for career win number 16. He needs one more furlong to get it done. Dan the Man's been chasing him throughout. Benny Big Boy's even
And that
paced
3's gonna
along the
go
rail
wire to
than
wire.
Patriot Star. Big Shot in the News all the way. Wire to wire for Big Shot in the News.
3,
Dan
6,
the Man
5,
second, Benny Big Boy third, and Patriot Star
4.
finished 4th.
3, 6, 5, 4. And they were our 4 numbers. Now, thing is, what do we get here? We got the exacta. We didn't use the 3 on top of the try. And we obviously had the 10 to win on the 5, which I would have pulled back because when I saw the 5
Number
going off
3,
at 9
Big
to
Shot
5,
in the News all the way.
I ended up just
under
playing
Rudy
the try. If you
Ignacio.
can see my screen right here. 5-6 over 3, 4, 5, 6 over 2,
Conway
3, 4,
runs
5, 6.
second and third.
I didn't
Photo
even
will
play the
determine
exacta.
which one finished second. 146
But
3/5 on the board. Here's the final time.
recommended exact to the 3-5 over the 2, 3, 4, 5,
Please hold
6
all
would have been a hit.
tickets.
If you look at the probables, 3-6 exact, it would have got back $53 for $1. So that would have been a good play right there. Okay, but as you saw, painted our picture. We took some horses back. We took some, I should say, some color back. We narrowed it down to a 5-6, 3-4. And race finished off 3-6-5-4. Or was it 3-5-6-4? We'll see what happens. Because a 3-5 was a 54. They're both 53, 54.
Results of the photo, second place. Second place, 6, Dan the Man. Third place, 5, Benny Big Boy. Fourth place, number 4,
So you're looking at a
Patriots
$53 payout in that exacta. And you're looking at an 11-1 winner if you go and you take those 4 horses and you say, okay, I like the 3, we like the 3, 4, 5, and the 6. Which of the 4 are the best value? Obviously, the 4 and the 3 are the best value. If you go and you put your win money on that 3 horse, you know, you're making out $11, 11-1 payout right there. So, all right, so that's Finger Lakes 3. Thanks for looking. Keep an eye out for the next video. Until next time.